The Ohio State game, Penn State game, was the game of the weekend. What did Anthony Becht think of that game and the outcome? ESPN college football analyst now joins us here on Big Board Sports on 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio. Anthony, Roger Weiland, Chris Honorado in Albany. Good morning.
Hey guys, how we doing today?
Good, man. Appreciate a few minutes. I mean, that wild game.
Anthony Rogers, a Penn State fan.
I'm distraught here. Help me out.
Brad, really. So,
Please give me a scenario where Penn State can still get to the Final Four despite a 39-38 loss at Ohio State and having played a very easy non-conference schedule with teams like Pitt, Akron, and Georgia State. Tell me.
Well, is anybody else going to beat Ohio State leading up to the championship game? I mean, that's the biggest question. I mean, things can happen. Teams can lose. We got a lot of football left to play. There's no doubt. I think Penn State is one of the very best teams in the country. It was a very close game. They were in the lead for the majority of the game. It's just they couldn't hang on, and that's what happens. I mean, you expect a good team like Ohio State to come back and make a run, and, you'd hope that you can hold them off. What they did, it was at home. I mean, listen, Penn State did everything except the last, finish that game the last drive. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think again there's a lot that can go on, and but that was just a tremendous comeback victory by Ohio State.
Do you give more credit to Ohio State and what they were able to do, or what the heck was Penn State doing defensively that allowed the Buckeyes to do what they did? I mean, they were up 18 points in the third quarter. They're up 11, Anthony, with 6 and change to go.
You're right. I mean, I don't know if Penn State, in my eyes, was one of the better defensive teams in the country, but they had maintained and done enough. And obviously, going against a team like Ohio State, the type of offense and what J.T. Barrett has done, I mean, Ohio State's been off our grid for a while because they haven't really played anybody, and we haven't really seen, what they've been since the Oklahoma game. And J.T. Barrett has obviously improved as a quarterback. His statistics were big coming into that game. I mean, people probably wouldn't have realized he, was one of the top touchdown throwing quarterbacks in the country, but his game has improved. And when it means something, when it mattered in the fourth quarter, he just made the plays. He found the open receivers. That's probably something we didn't see much of him in the Oklahoma game. So you definitely saw a different guy out there on Saturday.
ESPN college football analyst Anthony Becht with us here on Big Board Sports. Of course, you know him from his West Virginia days, from playing tight end with the Jets and Bucks and Chiefs, and now every Saturday on ESPN. And Anthony, I know you had the USC game Saturday night. Would love to get your take on Sam Darnold. But first, give me your best one-loss team in the country right now.
Notre Dame is a pretty good football team. I'll tell you, I get to see a running back. Wimbush is that's a 1-2 punch that's hard to stop. I was impressed by their defense. I thought they completely shut down North Carolina State. I thought they had a lot of team speed. You wouldn't normally see that across the board, with the restrictions that Notre Dame has as far as recruiting. I thought they had some very, very gifted, talented athletes with a lot of the skill set in the defensive side of the ball. So I think right now, with that win at home and where they're going and what they have left on their schedule, I think Notre Dame, to me, controls their own destiny as far as this playoff opportunity.
Well, like we were just talking, I mean, the loss to Georgia, Georgia's just that good. So that's not a bad loss. That's for sure.
There's no doubt.
What do you think who will be the top? Who's your top four right now? What do you think they'll announce tomorrow night in the first installment here of the playoff picture?
I think Alabama and Georgia will be a clear-cut 1 and 2. I think that'll be what we'll see from them. And I think it'll be 3-4. It'll be Ohio State, Notre Dame, or vice versa. I have it Ohio State, Notre Dame. That's a huge win for Ohio State. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, listen, Notre Dame taking care of business, like you just said, they got the best loss right now when you look at it. So I would say those are the 4 teams, and then you could 5 and 6. You can throw a lot of teams around in there. I would say it would be some mix of Clemson, Wisconsin, and Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Penn State's going to be in the top 10.
Oh yeah,
I mean that's
yes. Oh yeah, for sure. There's no doubt. Yeah.
What about Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, they've got to win this week.
And they won at Ohio State. So, that's huge. That was a huge win for Oklahoma. They had a bad loss, too.
You can check Anthony out on Twitter at Anthony_Becht. And one of the great things Anthony does on Twitter, Raj, is he's not afraid to give you his picks each and every week. He'll give you his top 4 each and every week, and you'll even get some NFL picks out of Anthony on Twitter as well. The Heisman picture has become clouded.
Oh, no doubt.
At least. And for me, it's just Barkley's final numbers that I thought diminish it. The kickoff return he's exceptional in so many phases of the game. The 21 carries for 44 yards, and he was even limited for most of the Northwestern game. He did get some long runs that made the average look better than perhaps it should. He's been bottled up at times, and so I wonder, the loss aside from everything, some of the performances, maybe the rose is off a little bit.
Yeah, there's no question. And thank you, by the way, to Anthony Becht for joining us here on Big Board Sports. Much appreciated. Good job, ESPN college football analyst.